Welcome back to part 3 of my WIP parade. I'm Erin, the Two Martini Stitcher, both here on YouTube and on Instagram. And yes, this is part 3. So if you want to see the first 2 parts of my WIP parade, then they are posted on my channel. I don't know that I know how to do the little linky things. I'll see if I can figure it out. I'm not going to do a full big introduction. I did that at the beginning of part 1. But I left off at the end of part 2 about halfway through the 100 starts. You heard that right. If you are just stumbling onto part 3, the 100 projects that I started last year in 2025 to celebrate my 50th birthday. So, so we were about halfway through. We're going to power through the rest of these. It is the next day. You can see second day curls. I've changed my clothes. And we're going to get this thing finished up. Let's go. Okay. I left off somewhere in my starts for June, I believe. And I left off right before a biggie, another Mirabilia. I always thought to myself that I would never have more than one Mirabilia going at a time. I don't know why. That just seemed like it should be a thing. And then I just busted that this year because I wanted to start Lady Justice. And yeah, I have big feelings about the Supreme Court, and I'm going to stitch her. I am doing her on 32 count sand dollar by Be Stitch Me, with, of course, all the called for threads and beads and Krynic and all the things. Here's my start. I did a top center start. I know a lot of people start middle, but I did a top center start, and I'm leaving her on this full half because my plans are when I get her all finished, I'm going to put underneath here, I'm going to put We Dissent, and then put some of the closing statements on recent dissents around her. But that's going to be a while because it's going to take me a long while to get her done. My friend Karen, who is Stitches and Orts in the Desert, I'll link her Instagram profile below. She also started this with me and ran with it. So hers is done, including alterations, and you can check that out on her Instagram. I merely started. As is how it goes if you start along with me. It's almost guaranteed you will finish before I do. But hers is stunning. Absolutely stunning. And I think it might have been her first Mirabilia. So, go clap for her. Go give her lots of kudos on her Instagram. Okay. Now it's another seasonal series. I had finished spring in this series in 2024. And so I'm also starting, this is another series that I had started one or finished one, and I'm started all the rest of them in 2025. This is Summer Refreshes by Summer House Stitchwork. So I had done spring. And I'm doing them a little differently. Instead of 3 distinct colors, I'm doing an ombre in one color that goes from darkest on the outside to lightest on the inside. If I think about it, I'll post a picture of my spring here so you can kind of see what I mean. So this is summer, and I am doing this on a 36 count linen in Frozen Fractals. By Hand Dyed by Stephanie, and I'm using a coral. I'm using coral tones. So you can see this is my darkest, my middle, and my lightest. And I got the first band of dark done. So then I'll do the medium, a bigger block of the light, medium, and dark. So that's my start. I love this fabric. I have this Lindy Stitches up here is on that same fabric, on the other part of this fabric. It's so pretty. Feels very summery to me. Very summery sky with the heat of summer colors. All right. And what else does summer say to you besides turkeys? More turkeys! This is Mr. and Mrs. Delicious by Lindy Stitches. I'm going to stitch them together on one piece, like facing each other. And this is on a 32 count linen in Through the Stones by Be Stitch Me. I think it's called for or close to called for. Yeah, it looks like I subbed out a couple colors, but there we go. Eee, there's Mrs. Delicious, the start of her. So it'll be a little longer because I'm going to stitch them together facing each other. Yeah, I've already said that. You understand what I mean. So that is Mr. and Mrs. Delicious. I'm very excited because I think one day, come like fall, this whole shelf will be nothing but turkeys. All right. This piece is actually was a restart for me because I had started this piece and realized that I didn't have enough thread to finish it. And it was like a very like limited edition, no longer made thread from like a dyer who doesn't even dye thread anymore. Whoopsie doodle. So instead I picked out another one of those Cottage Garden stitcher palettes. I'm using this one. So pretty. Whoop. So I'm using this Stitcher's palette from Cottage Garden Threads. And the chart is Half the Fun by Ink Circles. So even though it's a monochromatic, I am kind of picking colors for each motif. I'm doing this on a 32 count vanilla latte linen by Be Stitch Me. And so I did a lot on this because I wanted to do a whole like quarter of it to make sure that the balance of colors on the motifs looked right. And then I could just replicate that on the other 4 quarters. So here it is, which maybe doesn't look like a quarter of the pattern, but it is the way the mandala turns. So that's every motif stitched once. And I love how it looks. I love it. So fun. All the different modes of transportation. This is great. And I'm doing a lot of traveling the first half of this year. So this might have to be one of the pieces that I take with me, because this would be really fun to finish, stitching up while I'm traveling and taking a bunch of these different modes of transportation. Yeah, actually. Plan. Look at me making plans. All right. The next 2 starts are 2 separate charts that go together. So they're in the same bag, on the same piece of fabric, with the same flosses. And this is Float and Sting by Plum Street Samplers and Heartstring Samplery. Oh, that's hard to say. I love this. I know it's like a Muhammad Ali quote, but it reminds me of my youngest daughter who was obsessed with cars. For a while, like we watched the Cars movie so many times, and he says that in Cars, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. So I wanted to do these, and here is Float on top and Sting on bottom. So pretty. This is such a pretty collab. And this is on Nantucket by Color and Cotton, 36 count Nantucket. I do just love a neutral fabric. So that is Float and Sting. Okay. Is this it? I feel like things got out of order. Uh-oh. Am I missing one? I'm missing a WIP. Hold on. Crisis averted. Not missing. Everything just got flipped around backwards in my tote. Whoa. I thought for sure. I was like, I have all of them yesterday. Where did they go? Okay. Next up is Rappaccini's Quaker by Bendy Stitchy Designs. Fantastic design with some like specialty stitches, and just love like the Latin names of all these poisonous plants. And this is on Drizzle, I think. Yeah, 36 count Drizzle by Color and Cotton with all the called for colors. I feel like things are falling over. Okay, here we go. And there is my start. It's more stitches than it looks like. But it's gonna look really pretty on this. And I think did she do this as a drum? No, it's shown laid flat, but I think we'll see how long it ends up being. I think it could make a really cool drum. I do love a drum finish. Have I ever done one myself? No, but I've had some done. I'm bad at this. There we go. I do like drums. Okay. Next up is another Artsy housewife. Coffee and eggs. I love this. So many people were stitching this like 2 years ago, and I finally just couldn't resist it. I think I'm doing this with, yes, I bought the Roxy floss conversion for this at Stitch North. And this is my start on Caraway by Color and Cotton. Here it is. Here's the start. There it is. A leaf and part of a rainbow. I just love it. I just love this design. And I think is there one that's tea? That's a companion piece now? I may have to do that one as well. We'll see. Okay, time for another turkey. And the fact that this one was not a start and finish is criminal. This is Photo Booth. Pilgrim Pals Photo Booth by Bent Creek. I just love them messing around in the photo booth, the turkey. So funny. And not only is it not a finish, my start on this is criminal. I'm pretty sure I took this with me on a trip, and this was just all the further it got. So this comes with the fabric and then is charted in DMC. So you just provide your own DMC, but this is the fabric. It's like stiff linen. That's it. That's just sad. That absolutely should have been a start and finish this year. Oh well, what you gonna do? All right, more chickens. I apparently had a chicken theme. This is Funky Chickens by Satsuma Street. I love these. If you haven't seen them, they have little sayings on the bottom. One of them, the big one says, "What's up, chicken butt?" What the cluck? These are just, I got it because of the one that says, "What's up, chicken butt?" Because when my kids were younger, they said that all the time to each other. "What's up, chicken butt?" And these are just so colorful and fun. I did purchase the Cosmo. They're charted in Cosmo. And so I bought the Cosmo thread pack from Satsuma Street. Because look how good. This, I think, was my very first time stitching with Cosmo flosses. fantastic. They're so good. The color saturation is amazing, which just is perfect for Satsuma Street stuff. This is on a 28 count. 28 count white, which is what's called for. And there's my start. There's my start on the first chicken. These will be really fun to stitch up and finish. Satsuma Street's colors are just second to none. All right. Next up is Antique Cats and Crowns by Shakespeare's Peddler. I've done antique keys and locks, and I thought this one would be fun to do potentially for my daughter. This is on a 36 count Patriots brew by R&R with, I think, probably cast iron skillet, because that's what I always use for black cats. And this is how far I got. And that's like the full length of the piece. So this is all the way down one side. So this is, these are quick stitches. When I come back to this, I'll probably just sit down and finish it up. I like those. There's a whole series of them. I think there's a bowl one. That would be kind of fun. Okay. More Artsy Housewife. Can you see I was a little obsessed? I just bought a lot of her patterns and hadn't started them yet because I was busy finishing. And I feel like she really like roared onto the scene in like 2023. And in 2024, I was finishing things, not starting things. So Golden Delicious. Oh, and there's some people that are doing this on like dark fabric, doing it like a night version. I am doing lighter on Parthenon by Color and Cotton with all the called for flosses. And here is my start. Who does a border better than Artsy Housewife? You tell me. Nobody. That's a pretty decent start. This is a big piece. It is sneaky big. As I'm sure you have seen other floss tubers mention and comment who have stitched it. It just doesn't look that big. But it's big. And it's a lot of border. Okay. Next up, I had the opportunity. I booked it for my birthday. This was my big birthday gift to myself, other than the 100 starts. I did a Stitchers Escapes cruise to Alaska. It was super fun. My friend Stephanie came out and joined me. So she came out to my house and we drove up to Vancouver because the cruise left from Vancouver. So the next few starts were on that trip, and they were all like starts with people or things that were connected to people on that trip. And the first one is Toonies by Dee's 20 Stitches. So Dee's from Vancouver, very Canadian. I had this chart for a while and wanted to start it. And so of course I had to start it when I went to Vancouver, and I'm stitching these with the Brennan needle flosses on a piece of, what count is this? 18 count Ada in maroon. Oh, it's actually the offcut from WIP It Good. It's the offcut from WIP It Good, and it is the perfect color for Toonies. So there's my start on Toonies. Hold on. Okay, my next start was a start with my friend Stephanie, who came and took the trip with me because she also wanted to start Autumn Provides, which is the next one in the series from Summer House Stitch Works. So I think that she's stitching it with these colors. She has a WIP parade. You can go check it out. I'm sure it's in her WIP parade. And I'm doing mine on Color and Cotton Bellini. And these are my colors, which is still kind of an ombre, but more like fall leaves changing. So this is how mine are going. So it's kind of like the red to brown of the Japanese maple in the front of my house. This is kind of how that tree's leaves go. And this is my start. That first little band. There we go. So pretty. So pretty. And that cruise was amazing. If you ever have an opportunity to do a cruise with Stitcher's Escape, it was really fun. It was very, very fun. All right. And then the last thing I started on that trip, Michelle of Bendy Stitchy Designs was there with us as well. And so I figured it would be the perfect time to start Needle Heathen because I am. And whenever I'm in like a group stitching setting, people get slightly horrified by my Needle Heathen ways. This is like the one of the few times I'm going a little off book on colors. So I'm stitching this on Tombstone by Color and Cotton, which is a gray, and I'm using blue and this Color and Cotton bone. So there we go. Prussian blue and bone for my Needle Heathen. So is that even the first? No, I have the whole ruler still to go on that. But I love this because instead of, having slots for like the differences, like any type, any kind, that's how mine are. I just pick one up and feel it and go, does that feel good? Yeah, I think I'll stitch with that one. Works for me. All right. We are getting firmly now into fall, autumn designs, which is my favorite season to stitch. It's my favorite colors. It's my favorite season to stitch. And this I had as a kit, Good Company, for ages. I think that this was at one time, might still be, an exclusive for Acorns and Threads. I know I bought it as a kit when it first came out at Acorns, so I am using like the called for fabric and flosses that came in the kit. And here is, I actually got a good start on that. Look at that. That's not bad. And I went ahead and put the date on it because I wanted to commemorate it as like a start in 2025 rather than whenever I get around to finishing it. So, okay. I need to reset. I'm at the end of that tote, so I need to reset a little bit. I'll be right back. Okay, my next start was kind of my big sampler September start. Look how beautiful this bag is. I do love a good project bag. And this project deserved a special bag. It's Clouds Over Veerland by Ink Circles. I told you, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with Ink Circles charts, and this one is so amazing. I kitted this up with the silks a couple years ago at Acorns and Threads, and it was just time to start it. So there's all of the beautiful silks, and I am stitching this on 36 count linen in buttermilk by Color and Cotton. Oh, look, and it's yet another one that I clearly thought I was going to continue stitching because I have, although it's not attached, I didn't leave it hanging. I just clearly thought I was going to get another thread in. There is my start on the clouds over that beautiful alphabet. So yeah, this is going to be a long-term project because she's large, but she's beautiful. And now she started. Clouds Over Veerland. All right. Then we have the next Seasonal Quaker by Leela's Studio. Autumn is as joyful. And I am probably in the minority, but I love the morbid saying, and I'm keeping it. So I like it. It speaks to me. It's one of the reasons that I wanted to do this whole series because I love this chart. So let's see. This is on Haystack by Color and Cotton, 36 count Haystack. And here is my start on Autumn. All the good autumny colors. So there's my start on Autumn. And I do have a plan for working on these regularly so that they get finished. Because it's a lot of stitching in those three. Okay. Next up is Spell of the Moon. Love this. And this was on my list to start this year already and all kitted up. I think I'm doing this with maybe totally called for colors or close to. But I kind of pulled it up in the rotation for to start with Jen from Jen's Fiber Web for her I'll Be All Right sell. And I have a thread hanging, but at least I don't have a needle on it this time. I just clearly just started it and left it hanging. But there's my start. And this is on Gray Magic, 32 count by Be Stitch Me. That's a great fabric, huh? Woo! Perfect. There is Spell of the Moon. And I think I had it years ago in this format, but I think it's in a book now. I think maybe it had gone out of print and then was reprinted as part of a book. I could be making that up, but I think that's true. Okay. Turkey time. And this month it was T is for Turkey by Heartstring Samplery. And I am stitching this on 32 count Macchiato by Be Stitch Me with called for ish colors. I think I may have subbed out a green because one of the greens didn't look any different from the other one that was called for. And I did a middle-ish start, top middle start, since it's a circular pattern. There is my start on T is for Turkey. Heartstring Samplery, Beth Twist, her charts are just always, they're so, a lot of them are so delicate and just pretty, and I don't know, she has a way with like flowers, I feel like. Okay. Next up is another bag that has 2 projects in it. I think I took these on a trip because they were kits and everything was all together and they feel like the same project, but they're not. I'm a sucker for a kit that has all the finishing materials in it. I just love that. So I have Sweater Vest Weather that I bought as a kit from Lindy Stitches years ago, and also Raven's Needle Book. Can you tell I also like needle books? Even though I am a needle heathen, I love a good needle book. So these were both kits. So I'm doing them with all the kit. I think maybe you had to get your own DMC. I think it was just all the finishing materials and fabric, but you got your own DMC. So here is the Raven needle book, shiny things. And these will also be like, these will finish up quick the stitching will finish up quick when I get back to them. And then there's that first little turkey in his sweater vest. So cute. So cute. So those 2 starts live together. And next up is something else that I bought as a full kit. when it was an exclusive for, there's a Facebook group that does exclusives with shops. Can't think of the name of it right now. If I figure it out, I'll put it in the description box. But this was one that I had purchased that was through Acorns and Threads. Emily's Bliss by Summer House Stitchworks, and a drum with all of the things. It came with like all the things you need to finish the drum. Maybe I will actually attempt to do it myself, or I will give all those things to the finisher I paid to finish it. But like, look, see, you can tell it came as a kit. There was like, it's a Gloriana one. Gloriana. I love Gloriana. And so does Janine, who owns Acorns and Threads. So it's always great to get Gloriana from her. And here is my start on the kit fabric. So Emily's Bliss. So see, this isn't too big either, but it's quite a bit of stitching, I feel like. But doable. See, I didn't start all enormous things. I tried very hard not to start 100 enormous projects. Okay, all of that goes back in there. Okay. So that is the theme, apparently, for that month, practically, was kits. Try not to zip the Gloriana up in the bag. Okay. And then I had purchased, if you have been around the cross-stitching community for a while, you know that sometimes at market, there is a group that does X Stitch the Rainbow. And they get together a bunch of designers who all design small charts. I think they have to be 60 by 60 using a particular palette. So this group of charts in this bag that lives in this bag is from the Autumn Garden X Stitch the Rainbow. So I love this palette, and it was all Cottage Garden threads. I'll show you the threads. Here they are. This is the Autumn Garden palette. I bet you can still get this from Top Knot Stitcher Shop. Maybe not, but probably. So there are the threads. Fantastic. Love the palette. And so I picked up a bunch of the charts. So these are the ones that I have in here, and I had just put on there, stitch one of them. So there were some autumn puns from Stitchy Pros. Amazing. I have the Tiny Modernist, ink circles, Bendy Stitchy's Autumn Colors. Look at that one. And then this one from Hermes Creations, because mushrooms. So those were the ones that I had purchased. And so I was like, okay, do one of those. I had already finished one of the Stitchy Pros puns. I'd finished Gourd Vibes Only. And so don't ask me why I oriented it on my fabric this way. I don't know. So I started Shiitake Happens. And I think that this was an Autumn Garden fabric. I have no information on the fabric, but I think that it came out at that same time for the autumn, either for the Autumn Garden, or it just came out at the same time, and you could get like 1/8 of a yard of it. So I don't know what that fabric is. Something I bought at the same time I got all the patterns. Okay. Next up is another Barbara Anna lady with a big, beautiful dress. Autumn Keeper. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Autumn Keeper. See, she's got acorns in her dress. And I am stitching this on 32 count linen in Morel by Starlight Alchemy with the DMC. Look how good this fabric is. I think this came from Starlight Stitchery. in Corvallis, and they did like a cottage core box, and I think that this came in that box. But they might still have this fabric, but it's from Starlight Stitchery. So there's my start on Autumn Keeper. Pretty good. This actually is not that big. This is one of those charts that I think is actually a little smaller than it looked. Okay. Next up, you've seen this fabric before. This is House on Pumpkin Hill, Pin Keep by Stacey Nash. And I'm doing it on the Scotsman fabric by Be Stitch Me. And here's my start. And I'm using the called for colors. And in the called for, the like stem and leaves end up looking more brown than they do, I feel like, in the cover photo. I mean, it could just be like a dye lot change. I think this is an older chart, but also it's like autumn, so I don't mind that they look like they're browning. So instead of switching it out, I just kept it. But there's my start on House on Pumpkin Hill. Okay. This is truly my favorite. My favorite type of stitching is all the autumn. And so the next one I started was Turning Leaves by Satsuma Street. I received this as a kit at Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit when it was first introduced. You can now buy this. It's been released. And I switched out the fabric because I just didn't, I don't care for the dyer that the fabric was called for. And I had this piece by Be Stitch Me. This is Gold Rush by Be Stitch Me that I thought would be perfect for it. But we did get all the Cosmo flosses. Once again, Cosmo floss. It just, the colors, you cannot beat the color on the Cosmo floss. So here is my start. See what I mean? Come on. That fabric, so perfect. Okay. When I started it, I did this one, and I've since put this one in because this piece is in my 2026 plans. So there's my start. And I want to do it as like a big cushion, just like that. I want to finish it just like that. We got to see the model at Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit, and it is, it's so good. It's so good. There are a lot of color changes in each of those leaves, but totally worth it. It's going to be totally worth it. Okay. What's next? Ooh, Fragments in Time. So I had finished, I think, 2018 Fragments in Time earlier in the year. And one of the reasons I really wanted to get that piece finished was to start another set. I have a couple years of the charts kit up, but I decided to do 2023 Berlin Woolwork. So here are, I'm stitching them all together. So they're individual charts, and you can do them like the little pin pillows, or Summer House Stitchworks on their website has a free border to do them all together. So I had done my previous one all together, and I'm going to do these all together as well. So I am stitching this on, let's see, Fragments in Time, Overcast by Cedar River Linen. This might be my favorite linen color. Like if you had to be like, oh yeah, look, the tag's still on it. Yeah, 36 count Overcast by Cedar River Linen. If I had to pick one linen to stitch on for the rest of my life, this would be it. This would be it. So you can see I didn't really get one of the charts done. I just got some good work in on the border. So I'm all ready to fill in that first one when I come back to it. But this border is really like nice and fun to stitch. So it's not going to be tedious to stitch that whole border. All right. Fragments in Time. I think last year's was a Halloween one. And I was kind of grateful because it gave me a year to not want to do them, since I don't really stitch Halloween, because typically those come out at market and I then went to buy the whole set. Okay, next up is Quaker Pumpkins, another chart. Hello from Liz Matthews. I've had this kit up forever. This has been sitting all ready to go for ages. I am not stitching the words. I'm just doing the pumpkins, and I may finish it as a drum. This is on Travertine by Color and Cotton. And one of the reasons I had this kit up was I had purchased the Forbidden Fiber Co. conversion of the flosses. So I've had all those, which I won't need all of this Raven since I'm not doing the words, but you can tell by the floss pack how big this chart is. This is another one that just doesn't look that big and is enormous. And it almost made me second guess starting it, but I love it. I love the Quaker pumpkins. I love a Quaker design. I love pumpkins. I love autumn. Here's my start. So there's my start on Quaker pumpkins. And someday I will have stitched it and it will be sitting as a drum. It just might be a while. It just might be a while. I know so many people who have stitched it and it looks beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful. So Quaker pumpkins. All right. Next up is a Hands Across the Sea sampler. What? Just one moment. Okay. Sorry. When the college age kids call, you pick up the phone. Moms know. Y'all know. Okay. This was the theme of 2025. I've had this in my stash forever. I want to stitch it, get it started. The Rose and the Giant Pear. One of the most favorite things I've ever stitched was, I'm not sure if you can see, is the pear motif on Oh Joyous Day. Seriously, one of the most favorite things I've ever stitched. And so this pear I needed to stitch. And this is not that big. It's not that big, she says with surprise. I'm stitching this on Ophelia by Color and Cotton. And see, because this is the whole width of it. Or the whole height. The whole height of it. So there's my start. So pretty. So pretty. And I can't wait to stitch that pear when I get back to this. It's going to be pear time. I also love the checkerboard house. Like, this is just fantastic. So that will be a fun stitch to get back to. And then, not my last one of the year, but yet another Ink Circles Black Velvet. This is just like, to me, this is quintessential Ink Circles. Just perfect. And I purchased this when it came out, and at the time, it's not what it's called for, is it? It calls for, no, it calls for just like a gray. I am stitching this on Vintage Smoky White. And at the time that this came out, this was a limited edition. I think it was limited edition. Gloriana called Royal Plum Light. No, you might still be able to get this. And it came out at the same like market or needlework marketplace. I'm not sure, but this floss was new at the same time this chart was new, and I just felt like they went together. So I've had them put together for the longest time, and here's my start. This floss, look at that. It gives me Mardi Gras vibes. But it's so pretty. It's stitching up so pretty. So that is Black Velvet. I mean, you do think, how many ink circle mandalas can one have? The limit does not exist. Okay. Now, oh, pulled the wrong one. My next start was Jeanette Douglas, Vintage Acorns. I saw this. There's a model of this at Acorns and Threads on 40 count, which I think is what it calls for. It might even be tinier. It might be 46. It's so good. Like this as a chart, I would look at it and be like, that's pretty. You see the model of this? I saw the model and bought the chart. And I'm pretty sure I'm doing this in called for on 36 count Maple Bar by Cedar River Linen, which is like the perfect linen for it. And here's my first two little acorns. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is going to be so great. I can't wait to do that great big acorn. Just so pretty. Sometimes that's like what it takes, you know? You see a model. It's one of the reasons I love going to actual shops, because of the models. They'll get you. They'll get you every time. Okay, this next start, I bought this chart with no intention of stitching it. I bought the chart just because it's beautiful and I wanted to own the chart. And then when I was planning out this year, I decided that I just did have to stitch it. A Quaker Dwelling by Kathy Barrick. I thought, oh, there's no way I can stitch all those bricks. Matter of fact, I think at the time I bought it, I asked my friends if anybody wanted to stitch it for me, and they didn't. Weird. But no matter. I'll stitch it for myself then. This is on Creme Brulee by Color and Cotton. And I am using the DMC. I'm pretty sure it is charted in like needlepoint silks. Yeah, sure is. It's charted in MPI, but with a DMC conversion, I'm using the DMC. There's my start. That first beautiful Quaker is in. And that house is going to be magnificent. It's going to be magnificent. So a model will get you, and a just downright huge, beautiful chart will sometimes get you too. Okay. We're getting close. I started this right around Thanksgiving, when my kids were about to come home for the holidays. Oh, this is a terrible black and white printout of the chart. This is All Roads Lead Home by Darling and Whimsy Designs, which I know everybody knows her amazing Quirky Quakers. The Quirky Quakers are amazing. I own a ton of them. I've stitched half of a ton of them. I still have a ton and a half left to stitch. The Quirky Quakers are amazing, but go check out Deanna's shop because she has other amazing designs, and this is one of them. It says, "There's no Christmas like a home Christmas, for that's the time of year all roads lead home." I love it. I hope that my kids' roads always lead home. Oh, wait. I do have a color version. There it is. So pretty. Big white house. Big white house. I'm stitching this on 32 count Blue Moon Java, which I think is an R&R. And here is my start. Doesn't the white look amazing on that fabric? Whoo! Look at those snowflakes. That house is going to look fantastic too, huh? You know, there's times that I'm like, oh, I don't know that this is the best fabric floss combo, but I tend to just go with it if I've started. And then every once in a while, I'm like, nice job, Erin. Well done. Well done. Okay. We're getting there. We're almost to the end. All right. Next up is Boris by Plum Street Samplers. I love him. I love him. He's so good. And I've done his name? You're all screaming it at me. We all know his name. He has a stocking too. And a like pie tart. Tart tin. Oh man, my brain is not working today. I think I need more coffee. Okay. Anyway, I've done him. So it's time to do Boris on the same fabric. So this is, I think, Salt Marsh. Sea Salt by Color and Cotton. And it's almost the same flosses as well. So I think I'm using all the called for flosses. And there's my start. And I changed my initials to like the pinky color in the alphabet just to make them stand out. So that's why the M is a different color. So there is my start on Boris. Man, the name of that cat is going to come back to me in like 3 hours. All right, last turkey of the year. Yeah, this is the last turkey of the year. Turkey Day by Cottage Garden Samplings. That's one good turkey. And I am stitching this on Boneyard by Be Stitch Me with probably all the called for because it's mostly DMC and a couple overdyes. And because of where I wanted this placed on the fabric, I actually started top right instead of top left, which is different for me. But I just, that's how I want it oriented on this fabric. So there you go. There's some leaves in here that are kind of ghosting in the camera. And they kind of ghost a little bit in real life, but I like it. I think once that turkey gets in here, it's going to be great. So that's my start on Turkey Day. We're getting down to like the last of all the seasonal starts here too, as we head into winter. Winter Cometh, which was the first chart in this series, and it was the first one I bought. It's the last one started. So it's the first one she charted. I bought it years ago. And Winter Cometh. And I'm doing this in like black, blue, grays. There's my floss choices. And I'm doing this on 36 count Myrtle Dove, which I think is an XJU Designs fabric. And here's my start. I'm the start of that border. First little band. So giving all the cold winter cometh vibes. Because here in Seattle, winter is gray. Gray and dreary. Once upon a midnight dreary. And now for the few handful of holiday Christmas starts. This I think I got in a box years ago because it was all kitted up. Yes. A Christmas Pin Pillow by Kathy Barrick. When I was choosing all of my starts, the first thing for this past year, the first thing I did was go to my tote of things that were already ready to go. And if I didn't want to start it, I took it apart for the most part. And so this was all ready to go and it's sweet and I liked it. So I said, sure, I'll start that one. And that's my start to it. I didn't get very far, a couple little reindeer, but this is not very big. But knowing me, I'm not going to touch it again until December. So that is Christmas Pin Pillow. Next up, I love these kits. Love, love. Some of my favorite things to stitch. Is it in there? Yes, it is. Okay. These little Satsuma ornament kits. Fantastic. So fun to stitch. They stitch up so fast. this should be finished, and it's not. This is Partridge and Pear. She's doing the 12 days. I think she's on 4. She's releasing 1 a year, which is good because that gives me plenty of time to get them done and get caught up. Here's how far I am. Oh wait, hold on. There's a piece of cardboard in here that I can. There we go. But it comes with everything. The kits come with everything, including a needle. It comes with all the floss and all the beads and sequins, and they're just really fun. They stitch up fast. They're really, really fun. Okay. This I got from the Jingle Ball several years ago as like a whole kit with all the finishing things. This is Christmas 3 by Hands On Design. This is just what I think she does best, are these type of charts with the rounds, and her finishing instructions are like, I can finish things following her finishing instructions, and I'm not very good. So I did get the pre-cut rounds with all the instructions, and she does videos on her channel, on her YouTube channel, like showing how she does the finishing. They're fantastic. I got the flosses, called for flosses that are color and cotton, and I'm stitching this on black what? 16 count chalkboard black Ada. And here is my start on piece. And these are fun and quick to stitch up. I just was very busy this holiday season. Very, very busy, and didn't get as much stitchy time as I thought I would. But I think that's typical. That's not unusual, right? Okay. Jenny Bean's Christmas Sampler by Shakespeare's Peddler. This is another one that I've just had forever. I love the little saying about gingerbread. For some reason, it reminds me of a Muppet Christmas Carol. I don't know why. It really shouldn't. Even though half the alphabet is up here, I think I'm not going to bother to stitch the bottom alphabet and the rot by Jenny Bean. I think I'm just going to do that much. We'll see. We'll see how I feel when I get down there. I'm doing this, I think, with all called for on Cream Puff by Color and Cotton. And here's my start on that beautiful, like, double border and everything. Very fun. Very, very fun. I like that it's like, I don't know, it's more prim Christmas colors. You know, it's not bright red, although obviously I like that too. My tastes really do run the gamut. They really, really do. From Hands On Design to Hands Across the Sea. Okay. This was another kit that I purchased at Jingle Ball several years ago, maybe just a year ago, with all the finishing materials and all of the kit. It was a full kit. Finishing materials, floss, fabric, blue flower, festive forest. Look at this. This is the full thing. And then you make this like huge, like muffin. I think she calls it a muffin finish. So this, like, you could have pre-stitched it and put it together during her class. I knew I was never going to get all this stitched. So I just held on to it to start this year. So this is on all called for, with all the called for threads, all the things. And here is my start. Because it's kit fabric, I started in the center. This is like the tree that's in the middle of that, like, mountain goat. I don't know. So there's my start on Festive Forest. Beautiful. I don't know what this linen is. Did I put down? I just put called for. Oh, it probably says on here. Cypress from Fiber on a Whim. That is a beautiful fabric. Okay. Last two. You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. Winter Quaker. I started the year with this on my list. Fingers crossed that she was releasing it. Otherwise, I would have had to figure something out. But she came through. Winter Quaker. Love it so much. This series is just amazing. This is a limited edition. Color and Cotton. October 2025 Fabric Club limited edition. And this is where I am. I started this, the last week of the year, and I've worked on it some since then because it's in my current rotation. But here's where I am on Winter Quaker. Beautiful. These are going to be so amazing. And I'm not going to switch them out seasonally in my house. Like all 4 are going to hang together all year. All year. All right. This is it. Number 100. My New Year's Eve start. Kind of my New Year's start. Had to be in ink circles. New doors. Old keys won't open new doors. Felt perfect for the new year. I'm not stitching this border. I may put in just like a straight border if I think it needs it when I'm done. But right now my plan is to just stitch the words and keys and locks. This is on Green Tea by Color and Cotton with all the called for. And there's my first. These are the keys I got in. I really like stitching keys. As I said, I did antique locks and keys as well, and I just really liked it. I really like stitching keys. They're fun. They're fun shapes to stitch. All right. That's it. We did it. It took 3 very long videos, hours and hours and hours. And if you watched all of this, thank you. Thank you. It's been really fun. I mostly do this so that I have a record of my stitching year over year. But I love watching WIP parades and seeing other people's projects and being inspired by that. And so I hope that maybe you took some inspiration from some of my projects. And if you're stitching some of those projects as well, let me know. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful year. We'll see. I may try to come back and do some updates. I've been better about updating on Instagram, and I'm usually posting in my stories. So have a wonderful year and enjoy your stitching. Bye.